You've been lied to. They told you English was all about grammar rules, memorizing vocabulary lists, and acing tests. They made you believe that fluency was the result of intelligence, that if you weren't born smart or didn't start young, you'd never be good at speaking. Bullshit. You've spent years studying, books, apps, videos, classes, and yet when a native speaker turns to you and says, "So what do you think?" your tongue tightens, your brain short-circuits, and you panic. Why? Why does your confidence vanish the moment it really counts? Because they never taught you how to think in English. They never trained you to respond. They filled your mind, but they never sharpened your reflexes. And now you're stuck. Not because you don't know enough, but because you've been learning the wrong way. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to break your English barrier, forever. Picture this. You walk into a coffee shop. You've been rehearsing your order in your head for 5 minutes. You know the words. You've practiced the sentence. You even checked your pronunciation online. Then the barista smiles and says something unexpected in English. And just like that, you freeze. Your heart jumps. Your mind goes blank. And the only thing that comes out of your mouth is, It's not your IQ. It's not your lack of vocabulary. It's not your accent. It's the reflex. Fluent speakers don't think about speaking. They just speak. Their brain is trained to respond without hesitation, without translation, without fear. And here's the brutal truth. No amount of grammar books will train your reflex. No YouTube pronunciation tutorial will wire your brain for conversation. Fluency is not academic. It's athletic. Learning English is like martial arts. You can study every technique, memorize every move. But if you've never stepped into the ring, you'll still get knocked out in 2 seconds. And right now, most learners are shadowboxing in their room, thinking they're preparing for the fight. Here's the part they never told you. Your brain doesn't speak languages. It predicts them. Every time you listen, your brain is trying to guess what comes next. Every time you speak, it's trying to match emotion, intention, and rhythm, not perfect grammar. That's why babies learn faster than adults, not because they're smarter, but because they copy sounds, feelings, and patterns without fear of being wrong. You, on the other hand, hesitate. You correct yourself mid-sentence. You chase accuracy instead of connection. And that's exactly what's holding you back. Let me say this loud and clear. Perfection is the enemy of fluency. You don't get fluent by speaking right. You get fluent by speaking a lot. You mumble, you make mistakes, you stutter, and then your brain adapts. Your reflex sharpens, your confidence grows. That's the real training. That's the secret that textbooks can't teach you. So here's your first challenge. Speak today, out loud, even if you're alone. Especially if you're alone. Talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing. Argue with yourself in English. Get your tongue used to moving in this new rhythm. Don't wait for a real conversation. Create one. Now imagine this. You're walking down the street. Your phone rings. It's your dream job interview, but it's in English. You pick up. The voice on the other end says, "Tell me about yourself." Silence. You know what to say. You've rehearsed it 100 times, but now your brain is scanning every word like a search engine with no results. You're not thinking in English, you're translating. And that delay, that split second of panic, that's where fluency dies. Because translation is a trap. It pulls you back into your native language, forces you to filter every sentence, and leaves you drowning in your own thoughts. Want to speak fluently? Kill the translator in your head. Start thinking in English, even while doing boring stuff. Washing dishes? Narrate it. Taking a walk? Describe everything around you in English. Feeling tired? Say it to yourself. I'm drained. I need coffee. My brain's foggy as hell. No grammar, no rules, just real thought. Raw English. This is how fluency is built, not in the classroom, but in the chaos of your own daily life. You build the reflex, not by studying harder, but by living in English, even when no one's watching. And when you speak, stop trying to sound correct. Sound real. Fluent speakers don't obsess over pronunciation. They don't stress every syllable like a robot. Own their voice. They bend it, twist it, push it. Because speaking isn't just words, it's attitude. You ever watch native speakers talk? They don't say, "I am going to the store." They say, "I'm going to the store." It flows. It's lazy. It's messy. And it's exactly how real communication works. So here's what you do. Stop being a perfectionist. Be a performer. You're not a student anymore. You're a character. When you speak English, you step into a role. You become someone who expresses clearly, confidently, even if you mess up. Pretend you're in a movie. You're the lead, feel the line, own the line, because that's the mindset shift most learners never make. They speak like they're afraid of being judged when they should be speaking like they've got nothing to lose. You don't learn to swim by reading about water. You jump in, you flail, you choke, and then you float. Same with English. Here's a dirty little secret. The best English speakers never wait until they're ready. They speak when they're uncomfortable. They speak when they don't know the words. They speak when their grammar sucks. And guess what? That's why they improve. While you're still on lesson 37 of your grammar app, they're out there messing up conversations and getting fluent in the process. Because they understand this one thing. Progress comes from pressure. Think about it. Every powerful skill in your life came from doing it before you were good at it. Riding a bike, driving, even walking as a kid. You didn't wait. You tried, you fell, and you learned. But for some reason with English, you're still waiting. Waiting until your accent sounds native. Waiting until you can speak without mistakes. Waiting until you're more confident. Stop. Confidence doesn't come before fluency. It comes from fluency. And fluency comes from speaking, struggling, adapting. Today, not someday. So talk, stumble, repeat. That's the blueprint. You think people will laugh at your mistakes? Maybe they will. And that's exactly why you'll grow faster than them. Because while they're busy laughing, you're doing the one thing they're too afraid to do. You're learning in public. You're facing discomfort. You're stretching your limits. You're making your mind bulletproof. Most learners stay silent not because they don't know what to say, but because they're terrified of looking stupid. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. If you're not willing to look stupid, you'll never sound fluent. Real fluency isn't clean, it's chaotic. It's full of and half-finished thoughts. But it's alive, it's honest, and it connects. That polished, perfect version of English you're chasing, it's not real. It's not how people talk. It's not how confidence sounds. Confidence is messy. Confidence says, screw it, I'll say it anyway. Every time you speak with fear, you reinforce the wall between you and fluency. Every time you speak through fear, you crack that wall a little more. So ask yourself, are you protecting your pride or building your skill? Because you can't do both. Let's get brutally honest. You don't need another English course. You don't need another vocabulary list. You don't even need another motivational video. You need a mirror and a moment of truth. Look yourself in the eyes and ask, am I avoiding English or am I owning it? Because the real problem isn't your ability, it's your avoidance. You've been dancing around the edges of fluency, never stepping in, watching videos but not speaking, reading books but not reacting, studying dialogues but never living them. You've become a consumer of English, not a creator. And that's what keeps you stuck. Fluency doesn't come from watching someone else speak. It comes from your voice in the air, from screw up and doing it anyway, from turning passive knowledge into active power. That power is in you, right now. But it doesn't activate through comfort. It activates through collision, through real moments, real pressure, real use. So stop hiding behind your notebook. Get loud, get uncomfortable. Make English your voice, not just your subject. Because fluent isn't a level, it's a decision. Let me ask you something brutal. How many more months are you going to waste getting ready? How many more times are you going to say, I'll practice tomorrow, or I'm not confident yet, or I'll start when my English is better? You're not training anymore. You're hiding. You don't lack time. You don't lack talent. You don't lack tools. You lack brutal self-honesty. The kind that says, if I don't start speaking now, I never will. This is your edge, right here, right now. Every second you stay silent is a second you reinforce fear. But every sentence you speak, no matter how broken, no matter how awkward, is a step into power. I'm fluent? Then sound stupid today. Get laughed at today. Get stuck mid-sentence today. Because if you don't, if you keep playing safe, waiting for perfect, you'll wake up 5 years from now still understanding English, but still too scared to use it. You're not stuck because your English is bad. You're stuck because you're still trying to speak perfectly. Real speakers make mistakes while you're still afraid to open your mouth.